Okay, so I guess we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this second episode of Feature Showcase Live. So every Tuesday, basically at 6 p.m., I discuss a specific feature about Databik. If you're new to this channel, if you're new to Databik, Databik is a no-code, low-code platform. So a platform you can use to build applications without coding, no code, or with a little amount of coding. It was one of the very first platform of this kind. And yes, my name is Eugenio Tacchini. I am the founder of Databik. I've been working in the no-code, low-code industry for more than 20 years. I also work in academia, teaching databases and data science courses in a college. So after this short presentation, I will go through this second episode that is about conditional form fields and how to implement them in Databik, in a Databik application. What is a conditional form field? First of all, well, you probably know that. It's a field in a form, that you want to show only according to a conditional field. Let me give you an example. Maybe you have a customer registration form and have a radio button where you can set if that customer is individual or a business customer, and according to that option, according to the option you select, you want to show a different set of fields. Maybe business customers need additional fields. I don't know, for example, the VIT ID. For example, this is something that happens in Europe, for example. So your application, your forms also work without conditional field, so without this logic, right? But obviously, if you only show to the user of an application the relevant information that is more user-friendly, right? People don't want to see a long list of fields they don't have to fill, right? So that's why conditional fields are pretty common when you develop, for example, internal tools or something like that. So let me check my notes. All right, so let me introduce here the application I always use during these live shows. This is a simple inventory system I've developed with Databik. Very simple. I've developed it in maybe 1 or 2 hours, I don't remember. And we use this as a base to show the features we want to discuss. So this inventory system, with this inventory system, we represent our products and the movements, inbound and outbound movements on specific products on specific dates. We represent our warehouse with quantity and estimated values for each product. We know which are the understock products, and we have a dashboard where we can see some useful information with some auto-updatable charts and reports. we have different user groups, each one having different permissions, and this is the application basically. So let me show an example of conditional fields. So where, for example, we would need conditional fields. I was thinking about movements. Yeah. So here we track the movements. So every time we have an inbound or outbound movement, we track here the product, the type, inbound, outbound, the quantity, the date, by default is today's date, and the supplier. And this last field is basically where the field I want to work on. Why? Because it makes sense to specify the supplier only if and only if the type is inbound, right? So we don't want to show it for outbound. For inbound movement, we want to specify the supplier we buy that product from, but otherwise we don't want to display it. So that's an example of conditional field. In Databeak, you can implement conditional fields in two ways: no code way and low code way. Until Databeak 12 Aveto, that is the very last major release of Databeak, Databeak 12.0 has been released about 3 weeks ago, and then yesterday version 12.1 has been also released, but the no-code conditional fields have been introduced with Databeak 12.0, so 3 weeks ago. And by the way, let me show you, in case you don't know how to get Databeak. This is the URL, databeak.com/download. You can get your copy of Databeak from there. Yeah, I was saying that with Databeak 12, you can handle this conditional field completely no code. How? So let me edit the app. So we open, I click here and I open a tab with the admin area, form configurator, movement, which field? The field is supplier. So we are going to configure the field supplier of the table movements. Behind this page there is a table, a database table. In this case it's a MySQL database, but Databeak supports other DBMS as well. A movements table, I was saying, and ID supplier. Here is the conditional rule we can set. So first of all, I want to set the supplier as not required. So is the field a required one? No. So this is not a required field. Not only that, I also want to show the supplier only if the type, here I have the list of fields I find in this movement form, only if type is equal to inbound, and save. Okay, let's go back to the application. Let's reload this page. So as you can see, the supplier is gone. But if I click on inbound, it will appear. All right, outbound, inbound. So this is, as you can see, very simple to implement now that we have this additional parameter here in Databig 12. So this is the no-code approach. With the no-code approach, we can express simple conditions, simple rules, based on the value of another field you have in the form. You have some operators here, equal to, greater than, less than, and so on and so forth, and you can put a value here. That's the kind of logic you can implement no code. All right, so this is the first approach. Sorry, maybe I'm realizing that let me check here. Maybe you don't see very well the that parameter because there was this banner, right? Let me go back to the other view. That banner with the database URL. So sorry for that. Now you can see that the show only if parameter has a menu, drop-down menu, where you can choose the field, the form field, and then the operator, and then you set a value. So that's the no-code approach. Okay. So which are the limits of this approach? Well, let me give you a couple of ideas. The first one, obviously, is that you can only express simple logic, right? Things like the one I showed you. The second one is that you don't have control on the requiredness of the field. If you remember, I set the field as not required, right? And that's probably fine. But if you want to make the field required only when the field is displayed, so only when type is inbound, at the moment there's no way to do it no code. So no code, either the field is required or it is not. There is a workaround, actually. You can set the field as not required and then add a custom validation function to validate the form. But, you know, it required probably a couple of lines of code. On the other side, you have the low-code approach, the one we have used until Database 12, basically. So let me show that different approach with another form. Okay, so for example here, okay, I have the field review here, where we can add a review for each product, and let's say that we want to show this field only if the category of the product is phones, and both the conditions should be true, the user who is connected, is logged in at that time is, I don't know, Bob, okay? Only for Bob and only for phones, we show the review. In all the other cases, we don't. We cannot express this kind of logic with the no-code approach, as you can imagine, but we can do it with very few lines of code. We need to use a custom required function or custom conditional function. Let me show what we need. Okay. So here I am in the custom required functions.php file where I basically write all my custom code related to custom required functions. If you know Databeak, you know that these files are completely separated from the Databeak core files. Databeak doesn't touch these custom code files when you upgrade the platform itself, right? So you can keep your code with the platform completely separated. So let's write, we need to write the function, the field containing the logic we want to use for that field. So function, the name of the function must start with Databeak. And this is the exactly the field, the function name I want to use, and that the editor is suggesting me because I tested it before. So Databeak conditional product review. Databeak conditional product review. Okay, so this is our function. So here, well, as we said, it must start with Databeak, but then this part is up to you. Conditional product review is a good name because I know it's about a conditional field, and let's call it products review. It's about the review field in the products table. Okay. This kind of function have in input a parameter variable. In this case, technically is an associative array that is params. Params contains the value of the other form fields at each specific time. So for example, params category will contain the value of the field category. Okay. Remember that here we need the name of the field. Don't confuse the name of the field, the name of the database field, with the label. As a label here we have category with capital letter, but this is a label. I know because I remember that the field name is category, but if you are not sure, you go here in the data tab here, products category is the field name. Okay. All right. So okay, so if params category equal to we said phones, let's start with just this rule. Okay, this is something we could have done also no code, but let's do it this way. Okay, so here, that's another thing we have to do. Return, no, let's call it result show, result show equal true, no, equal false. Okay. Let me write the whole code, then I'll discuss it. Okay, so we need to define, we need these kind of functions need to return an associative array. If you're not familiar with PHP, maybe associative array or with programming in general, maybe associative array is not a concept you are familiar with, but if you know other programming languages like Python, for example, this is very similar. This is a very similar structure to this is, sorry, let me rephrase. This is very similar to dictionary. All right. If you're not familiar at all with programming, this is just you know, an element where we can store values, and this element has two keys, show and required, that in this case, in this specific case, can be true or false. Show, true, false, means display the field yes or not. Required, true, false, means make the field required true, false. Okay, so we set bot to false, but if the category is equal to phones, then we set bot to true, and then we return our dollar result, our associative array, containing you know, containing true or false for show and required according to the our code. All right, let's try with this little piece of code. So so far we have just written the code, but nothing changes in our application. If I reload this, well, that's exactly as it was. Why? Because again, I just wrote the code, but now I have to tell Databik that this field must be linked with that function. So here in form configurator, products, and field review. This is the conditional no code, but we leave it blank. Conditional field function, we link here Databik conditional products review. This is the function we wrote, and save. Let's check if it works. Okay, as you can see, there's no review field anymore. But if I, well, let's try with laptops, still the same, phones, okay, it is displayed, so it works. Not only it works, it also make the it also makes the field required, as you can see from the red asterisk. Okay, but we said that we want something more. We also want to check if currently logged in user is Bob. To do that, I mean, to know the logged in user, we don't use params. Params just contains the values of the field in the form. Dynamic has a few global variables that you can use in your custom code. One of the global variable is the global variable current user, containing the username of the currently logged in user. So, and globals current user equal to Bob. Sorry, now I don't remember anymore, to be honest, if it's current user or username user. So when this happens, you just have to go to the manual, current user. Okay, sorry, but you know, sometimes I may forget this. Okay, so we were right. Current user equal to Bob. Okay, everything seems correct. So if it works, if we reload, we are logged in as root. Root is an admin user. If I select phones, but I'm not Bob, the field is not displayed. Okay, so let's try with Bob. Log out and log in. Products, create new, phones. It works. All right, that's exactly what we wanted to do. Okay, so as you can see, it's literally just a few lines of code. This strange thing, well, it's maybe weird if you are not familiar with PHP or other programming languages that use similar syntax. This is the Boolean AND operator. Okay, it means both this condition must be true to make the whole condition true. Okay, so if both are true, then show the field and make it required. Okay, that's it. Well, this is standard PHP code, so your conditional field rule can be even very, very complex. You know, anything you can express in PHP is fine. You can call an API. You can run an SQL query and make a field required or not according to the result of the query. Anything you may think. I don't know. You can do something like, okay, show the review only if the user belongs to this group and only if the user already created at least 10 products. Okay, anything is fine if you can represent it in PHP. Let me let me drink some water first, and let me check my documentation to see what I wanted to tell you. if there is something more. Yes, a couple of things. So the first thing is, when you use conditional fields, please check the documentation about them. There is a chapter in the database manual where you can read about conditional fields, because there are some corner cases to consider. Just to give you an example, when you need to use the value of a field in your logic, that field cannot be disabled. Okay, in database you can, for example, in a edit form, you can show a field but make it disabled, so users cannot edit it. In that case, you cannot use the value of that field as part of your, logic, conditional logic. And that's one thing. The second thing I want to discuss was about the relationship between conditional rules and permissions. So let me open the permissions tab. Okay, now I have to log in again because I was logged in as Bob, and Bob is not an admin. So okay. Okay, this is the permission. For example, let's go back to, well, movements, products, group managers. Managers is the group to which Bob belongs. Okay, so the review, let's talk about the insert form. If we need, not always, but sometimes, like in our example, so we need the review field only when the user is Bob and the category is, I don't remember, phones probably. Okay, so we can specify our logic as we did. However, in terms of permissions, the create permission for that field and for the user group, in this case managers, we want to work on, must be yes, right? Must be yes. Because remember that what you see here, well, what you do here with the conditional, with your conditional rules is, well, you're just hiding and showing a field in the form. But even when you hide the field is still there in the form. You're still submitting a value, right? So if you need the field in your insert form, for sure this must be yes, create yes. Okay, so however, what can happen? What can happen, and you should consider that, is that if someone, well, I can do it from here, I guess, to show you an example. This is something that you should take into consideration. So inbound, supplier, Apple, okay, that's fine. But then I click outbound. The field disappears, but the field is still there, actually. So Apple will be submitted when I click save. Maybe it's not a problem for you, or maybe it is, but you have to know that. because you are inserting Apple as a supplier even if the movement is outbound. So in order to avoid that, you should add a custom validation function. It's the kind of thing I also mentioned before. What I'm saying is not only true for no-code conditional fields, also for low-code conditional fields. Just to be clear, if you add on the top of this a custom validation function, you can state in your function that if the field, if the type is outbound and the supplier is set, well, it's different than empty string. Probably we have to check it out, but probably that's the right condition. Maybe you can throw an error, a validation error, saying you have selected a supplier even if you selected outbound. Please clear the supplier, something like that. Okay, this is something you should consider. Maybe this part in the conditional implementation, conditional field implementation in Databricks will be improved. So maybe at some point you won't need to take care of this anymore, but for the moment it is like that. So please take it into consideration. And I think that's it. Let me read my notes. Yes, that's it. So that's it for today. And next Tuesday, third episode, I will probably, let me show again the URL where you can get Databricks. Probably next time I will talk about revisions, specific Databricks features that allows you to track all the changes in your data, revisions audit. So probably is going to be the topic of the third episode, but you will see, because I normally plan the each episode in advance, and you will see it in advance on YouTube. But yeah, that's it for today, and see you next time. Ciao.